Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Popcorn Banter Mini. This week we're going to be doing our recap of The Mandalorian Chapter 13, The Jedi, which, as it turns out, was a pretty monumental episode in the lifespan of The Mandalorian so far. First and foremost, hey Keeks.
G'day, how you doing?
Very good. And you were just telling me off camera, you reckon that's probably one of the better episodes you've seen?
I reckon the best episode I've seen. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm not far off that either. I reckon it was awesome, and we have said in previous episodes that we liked the fact that there weren't any Jedi in the Mandalorian universe, but it was still pretty cool seeing some Jedi come into it.
Well, that was where I was going to start with my points. I'm like, well, jumping straight in, I'm going to contradict everything I said in the earlier episodes.
All
But
right, well, let's
that
do
being
that.
said,
You
well,
get
I'm just as a continuation to that. She's kind of a Jedi, but she's still in the real world of
Yep.
the Star Wars universe. So she's a bit of an exception to the rule.
Yeah, and I mean, like she's a Jedi in the sense that she has all the abilities, but technically speaking, she never actually became a Jedi. So there's that sort of asterisk, I suppose. But why quibble over terminology? She's a Jedi.
Well, I suppose maybe it was relating to Groku as the Jedi or
Grogu.
Goku. Maybe that's his name.
Grogu.
Grogu. Yes, maybe he's the Jedi that they were
Well,
referring to.
that's actually one of the monumental aspects that I was talking about. That's been a point of conjecture this whole time, that the kid hasn't had a name and people were referring to him as baby Yoda, which is factually incorrect. But now he's got a name. It's Grogu, which is, it's an interesting name, but it's a name nonetheless.
I'm not going to call him that. I'm going to call him Baby Yoda still, or the child. I
Well,
don't like the name.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens to all the Christmas toys, whether they get renamed as Grogu or whether they maintain the Baby Yoda. Anyway, so are you calling? Sorry, go on.
Sorry. It just sounds, when you hear the word Grogu, it just sounds like what a frog says. Kind of. When I hear the name, all I just think of is a frog croaking.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how about we get into our good, our bad, and our interesting? So is that going to be your good for this week, the introduction of Ahsoka Tano?
Well, my list of positives start. My first point is everything. So at no point in that episode was Mando caught off guard. It's one thing that we've really quibbled about before. Like that last standoff with the guy when he put the gun down, and I'm thinking this guy is so going to pull a gun out of somewhere, or he's going to turn it and shoot him. Mando was ready for it. He's finally done the thing that everyone else was thinking. He wasn't fooled by it. So I think that's a really good part.
I love that. That was such a sort of Clint Eastwood thing to do. He just had his hand over the holster, and he was just ready for him to make a move, and then just bam.
Yeah.
That was good. And yeah, you're right. That's something I hadn't thought about yet, but he gets the wool pulled over his eyes a lot, and that didn't happen to him this week. Everything just kind of went to plan, which was nice to see.
Even when he went to the guys in the first place and they're like, "Oh, we're searching this Jedi. Can you track her down?" He's like, "Oh, I need to find her. Maybe I'll just tell them." And then he was always in control, which was what we've wanted from an episode as yet.
Well, that's pretty much my good too. So I don't have too much more to add other than what we've already said. I suppose the only other thing is that I hope Ahsoka Tano stays around for a bit longer and features in a few more of the episodes heading towards the season finale, possibly even onto season 3 if they decide to do that. But yeah. All right. Well, how about, you said everything was good, but what about, were there any bad things? Any things you didn't like about the episode?
Well, my negative was blank. I don't really have anything to say that I'd really fix this episode with. I think maybe Grogu, the name, I suppose, if I'm really clutching at straws, but it's just a name. Like, you can really get over that.
Well, I'll take this one because I actually did have a negative. It's a soft one, but I'll go with it anyway. It was kind of annoying how Ahsoka was being about the whole training thing. She was like really pushing it away, and I just think it's kind of getting to me a little bit how it kind of feels like a video game. Like, you know how you finish a quest in the video game, they're like, oh, congratulations, you finished the quest. Now you have to go here and find this thing.
Your princess is in another castle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your princess is in another castle. Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what it felt like to me. And it keeps happening week after week. And she was like, oh yeah, go to this place and let Grogu choose for himself whether he's going to become a Jedi or not. And I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, if we know that the Empire is desperate to hunt this child down and extract whatever Force DNA that they can conjure from him, wouldn't it be in everyone's best interest for him to learn how to use the Force so that he can protect
Yes.
himself?
Yeah, I agree. But it's true to her character that she wouldn't want to do it because of the whole she's seen Anakin turn into Darth Vader thing. It really makes sense with her character being afraid of that side of the Force. And that's why she didn't go towards being a Jedi, because she sees fear in him. And then that's what turned him into Vader. And in the Star Wars Rebels, I think the show was the second cartoon that was considered canon, when she met up with Darth Vader and found out he was Anakin, that really rocked her. So it makes sense for her character to really not want to train him if she sees fear in him.
I'll take that argument. Yeah. So that's fine. But I suppose I'll say that the bad
I
thing.
agree what you're saying. But yeah. It's very, very checkpoint in a longer video game thing.
One time, I just want the Mandalorian to go, do I really have to go to another planet again?
Because that's what you do. If you kept on coming up, you just see him sigh, just
Oh, well, what about like when you go to the shops and someone like pushes you on to another customer service person and you're like, can't
yeah.
you just help me?
Yeah, or it's like on the phone when you're trying to get something through customer service. I will transfer you to this guy. We'll transfer you through to this guy. Yeah, it's frustrating. But at the same time, they've got a whole season to flesh out. So they're going to make more episodes somehow.
All right. Well, what about interesting? What did you feel was interesting? And what are you looking forward to? What plot are you looking forward to progressing?
Well, my interesting is not so much, I don't know if they'll really pick up on this, but the implication being at this time that Ahsoka Tano was alive at the same time that Luke Skywalker was alive.
Yeah.
So if that's, maybe they'll make a TV show for Ahsoka Tano. That's kind of where I see them going with this. Yeah. Maybe that would be a really cool little interaction that they could play out between Ahsoka and Luke. Him being like, well, he did turn into Anakin at the end. He restored balance to the Force. Like, your teacher did come back. I think that would be a really cool little thing. Something for them to explore, the fact that her and Luke were alive at the same time. But at the same time, where was she when they were blowing up the Death Star and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. And to your point, I would love to see a TV show about her. Reception to her character and Rosario Dawson's performance have been like overwhelmingly positive on the internet. So
it was unreal.
Disney would be licking their lips about that, and they'd be saying like, there's just a gold mine waiting there if they do a show about Ahsoka Tano. The whole Death Star thing, that's a good question, because you could probably forgive her for not being there the first time, but they did build the Death Star again. So
yeah,
you'd think
there was a lot of talk of the rebels and stuff, so she would have been around. But at the same time, in real world logic, she was created many years after those movies were created. So we can't really, and you're not allowed to touch the original trilogy. That has to stay sacred. So it makes sense.
Yeah, well, maybe a TV show could, retcon that a little bit and explore why she wasn't around. My interesting is that I can't get a read on the kid, on Grogu. Because in one instance, he's just totally a baby, right? He sits there and he plays like with little ball knobs and stuff, and he eats fish eggs. Then the next scene, he's having a conversation with Ahsoka, through the Force, and she's reading his feelings and stuff. And he has like, I wouldn't say complicated feelings, but definitely somewhat mature feelings, which, I can't say a baby would be having the same sort of feelings as him. Add to that, she said that he spent a considerable amount of time training on Coruscant in the Jedi Temple. And I don't know, it's weird. His whole timeline is weird.
Yeah, it's like they want to keep him this cute character, but they also kind of gave him depth, which was actually something that you looked forward to in last week's review, I guess, when we were talking about you wanted to give this character a little bit more depth, and I just said, forget about it, it's not going to happen. Straight away they did it.
I want them to give him depth, but they're sort of juggling two balls. They're trying to keep him as a child, but they're also trying to give him depth and say that, oh, like he feels strongly towards the Mandalorian, and
he understands everything that he's said to him and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and
at the same time, he can't understand, put this red wire into this thing or blow himself up. Yeah. I see what you mean.
All right, well, that's our good, our bad, and our interesting. So you've kind of already done it, but just give us a quick recap of what you thought and what you're looking forward to, or what you think is going to happen in the next episode.
Man, anything could happen in the next episode. It's really gone, like, I wouldn't have predicted this episode to go exactly straight into the Jedi thing. And then before the opening credits even happened, you saw the lightsabers pop up. So I'm going to not predict what's going to happen, just because there's so many threads that are going on. If I was to rate this episode, I'd have to go a 9, just because if I give it a 10, I've got nowhere to go from there, just in case they come out with this insane episode next time. Really enjoyed it, and I hope they stick on this path. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'll go fractionally less than that. I'll go 8.5 out of 10. Similar to you, I think just having this conversation, I am decided that it is the best episode that I've seen of The Mandalorian so far. Ahsoka Tano, awesome character. Hope she continues. It was nice to finally get a name for the kid, even though it's not really a good name. But yeah, I was very happy with the episode. Moving forward, I'm the same as you. I really just don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, he's going to get pushed further along for another couple of episodes until, the climax nears, where he probably has some sort of big showdown with the Empire baddie. But yeah, who knows? It's been a weird season. The first 3 episodes started at absolutely no pace and no quality, and then after that, it just shot out of nowhere. Who knows? But I look forward to finding out. Well,
and we'll be here to let you know.
That's it for this Popcorn Banter Mini. Keeks, thanks for joining us as always.
Been fun as always.
As always, if you want to check out our podcast, the Popcorn Banter Podcast, as always, that's available on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from. And you can also check out the website at www.popcornbanter.com. And until next week,
see you then. Later. Bye.